For 2 weeks, Earth diplomats engaged in careful negotiations, requesting clarification on terms and conditions, while secretly reinforcing Europa colony's defenses. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock analyzing the limited data they had on Valkyrie technology, searching for any potential weakness. Then came the ultimatum. "Your delaying tactics are transparent," the Valkyrie emissary announced during what had become daily communications. "You have 24 Earth hours to transfer initial payment, or we will provide a demonstration of our resolve." In the Emergency Command Center beneath Geneva, Earth's leadership faced their moment of truth. "We cannot allow an alien entity to dictate terms through threats," President Alvarez declared. "Humanity doesn't negotiate with terrorists, not even interstellar ones." Secretary Liu leaned forward. "Madam President, I must remind you that Europa colony houses 10,000 civilians. We cannot adequately protect them in the timeframe given. What we need," Chen interjected from the vid screen, "is to change the terms of engagement. The Valkyrie expect either compliance or feudal resistance. Let's give them neither." "Explain," Alvarez prompted. Chen's plan was audacious. Rather than attempt a military defense they couldn't win or capitulate to demands they couldn't accept, Europa colony would evacuate, not back to Earth, but to a series of smaller, concealed outposts throughout Jupiter's moon system that had been prepared for just such a contingency. "We make ourselves a harder target," Chen explained, while simultaneously demonstrating that threats won't achieve their objectives. As the ultimatum deadline approached, Chen stood alone in the now empty command center. The evacuation had proceeded with remarkable efficiency, colonists dispersing to hidden facilities throughout the Jovian system. Only a skeleton crew remained, orchestrating the final phase of what they codenamed Operation Vanishing Act. The Valkyrie signal came precisely on schedule. "Your time has expired," the alien announced. "We detect no payment transmission. This is most unfortunate." Chen squared her shoulders. "On behalf of humanity, I must inform you that Earth does not recognize your authority in this system. We claim no territory beyond what we have settled and developed through our own efforts. We seek peaceful cooperation with all spacefaring species, but we do not respond to threats." The Valkyrie's features contracted in what might have been surprise or anger. "Your resistance is illogical. Our capability to enforce compliance is absolute." "Perhaps," Chen replied evenly. "But you'll find that humans have a saying. We don't pay ransoms. It only encourages more kidnappings." The transmission ended abruptly. Moments later, long-range sensors detected energy buildups in the Valkyrie vessel. Chen gave the final evacuation order and made her way to the last shuttle. As her craft accelerated away from Europa colony, Chen watched on the tactical display as precision strikes hit the now empty settlement. Key infrastructure collapsed in spectacular fashion, but the damage was largely superficial, strategically designed to appear catastrophic while preserving essential systems that could be restored later. The Valkyrie had made their demonstration, unaware that they had destroyed little more than an elaborate stage set. "First round to them," Chen murmured as the shuttle disappeared into the radiation shadow of Ganymede, where the true colony now operated from hardened underground facilities. "But this match is just beginning." Countermeasures and Alliance. 6 months after the Valkyrie attack, Europa colony remained officially destroyed. In reality, humanity had dispersed throughout the Jovian system, operating from concealed bases and maintaining radio silence while Earth prepared its response. In a repurposed mining cavern beneath Ganymede's icy surface, Dr. Marcus Rivera stared at his monitor with bloodshot eyes. For months, he'd been analyzing the energy signatures recorded during the Valkyrie attack, searching for exploitable patterns. "You need sleep, Marcus," Commander Chen said, placing a steaming cup beside him. Rivera rubbed his face. "Sleep can wait. I think I've found something." He gestured at the screen. "Look at these emissions during their weapons discharge. There's a millisecond vulnerability in their shield harmonics." "Explain it to me in non-physicist terms," Chen requested. Their technology relies on perfect synchronization, energy fields that oscillate in precise patterns. But there's a flaw in the implementation. When they fire their main weapons, their defensive shields momentarily shift frequency to accommodate the energy surge. Rivera's eyes gleamed with excitement. It's like a boxer who drops his guard for a split second when throwing a powerful punch. Can we exploit it? Chen nodded. Just as the Meridians predicted, all ships, prepare to execute counterpunch on my mark. The Valkyrie continued deploying their equipment, unaware of the human vessels moving into position. When the final stealth ship confirmed readiness, Chen gave the command. Execute counterpunch. Across the Jovian system, 6 vessels simultaneously activated their disruptor arrays. The invisible electromagnetic pulses were precisely calibrated to the millisecond vulnerability in Valkyrie shield systems. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The Valkyrie cruiser's external lights flickered and died. Its smooth trajectory faltered as propulsion systems failed. The automated platforms it had been deploying went dark, drifting aimlessly in Jupiter's massive gravity well. Direct hit, Park confirmed. Their primary systems are offline. Secondary systems struggling to compensate. All ships, Phase 2, Chen ordered. The human vessels decloaked, surrounding the disabled Valkyrie cruiser. Each trained conventional weapons on the alien ship, not powerful enough to penetrate its hull under normal circumstances, but more than sufficient against disabled defenses. Chen opened a communication channel. Valkyrie vessel, this is Admiral Eliza Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. Your ship has been neutralized. Your platforms have been disabled. You are currently surrounded by Earth vessels with weapons locked on your position. For several tense moments, there was no response. Then a visual feed activated, showing the Valkyrie commander, visibly disoriented, but attempting to maintain composure. This is unprecedented, the alien managed. How have you accomplished this? That's not your concern, Chen replied. What matters is that your assumption about Earth's capabilities was flawed. We do not pay ransoms, and we do not surrender our sovereignty. The Valkyrie commander's obsidian features hardened. The Federation will respond to this provocation with overwhelming force. Chen smiled thinly. Perhaps, but before you make threats, you should know 2 things. First, we've transmitted the specifications of our disruptor array to every human settlement in the solar system. Any future Valkyrie incursion will face the same vulnerability. And second, you're not actually communicating with the true Valkyrie Federation, are you? You're a splinter group, operating without official sanction, targeting developing civilizations for your own profit. Chen watched satisfaction as the alien's posture stiffened. Yes, we know. Our new allies have been quite informative about your operation. On cue, a Meridian vessel decloaked alongside the human ships. The Valkyrie commander's expression changed from arrogance to something approaching fear. Now, Chen continued, we have a proposal. You will withdraw all claims to authority in the Sol system. You will acknowledge Earth's sovereign rights to develop our system without interference, and you will provide reparations for the damage to Europa colony. Or, the Valkyrie manage. Or we deliver you and your vessel to the actual Valkyrie Federation authorities, along with evidence of your unauthorized extortion operations across multiple systems. Our Meridian allies assure us that genuine Valkyrie justice is quite thorough. In the tense silence that followed, Admiral Chen allowed herself a moment of pride. Humanity had faced its first interstellar crisis, not with panic or capitulation, but with innovation and determination. They had turned the tables on their would-be extortionists and established themselves as a force to be reckoned with. The galaxy had just learned an important lesson. Humans don't pay ransoms. Showdown and resolution. 3 years after the Jovian confrontation, humanity had expanded throughout the solar system with renewed confidence. Europa colony had been rebuilt and expanded, joined by new settlements on Ganymede, Callisto, and even distant Titan. Earth's alliance with the Meridian Collective had flourished, bringing technological exchanges and cultural understanding that accelerated human development. Admiral Chen, now serving as Earth's first interstellar security coordinator, stood before the United Earth Council in their Geneva headquarters, delivering her quarterly assessment. The disruptor array technology has been successfully integrated into all colony defense systems, she reported. Our shipyards at Ceres have completed 15 new vessels equipped with both defensive and offensive capabilities, and our diplomatic outreach, in partnership with the Meridians, has established contact with 3 additional spacefaring civilizations. President Navarro, who had succeeded Alvarez the previous year, nodded approvingly. And the Valkyrie situation? Quiet for now, Chen replied. After our confrontation, the splinter group withdrew from Sol entirely, tight and offensive, with minimal defensive screening. They clearly expected to overwhelm any resistance through superior firepower. Chimera activation in 3, 2, 1. Execute. Across the solar system, concealed installations activated simultaneously. From Martian orbit, massive electromagnetic arrays similar to the original disruptor, but vastly more powerful, engaged the Valkyrie fleet's outer vessels. From the asteroid belt, thousands of tiny autonomous drones deployed by the Meridians swarmed toward the Valkyrie ships. From Jupiter's moons, gravimetric distortion fields, technology shared by another allied species, created navigational havoc. The coordinated assault caught the Valkyrie completely unprepared. Their tight formation, intended for offensive operations, became a liability as ships collided in the gravimetric distortion. Their advanced targeting systems, confused by the drone swarm, fired on shadows and echoes. Their communication networks, disrupted by the electromagnetic arrays, fragmented into isolated clusters. Their breaking formation, Paddle reported, unable to keep excitement from her voice. Outer vessels attempting to regroup. Phase 2, Chen ordered. The human fleet, which had appeared to be retreating, now executed a perfectly coordinated pincer movement. Specialized vessels targeted the now isolated Valkyrie command ship with precision strikes, not at its weapons or engines, but at its external communication arrays. Command ship isolated, Tactical Officer Reyes confirmed. They can't coordinate their fleet. Chen opened a channel. High Commander Verox, your fleet is in disarray. Your command ship is isolated. You've lost tactical cohesion. I suggest you reconsider your position. The visual feed showed Verox's burnished features contorted with what might have been rage or disbelief. Impossible. Your technology is primitive. You had assistance. Of course we did, Chen replied calmly. Did you think we would face the galaxy alone? While you demanded our submission, we built alliances. While you prepared for war, we prepared for cooperation. That's the fundamental difference between us, High Commander. You see other species as either threats to be neutralized or resources to be exploited. We see potential partners. As if on cue, vessels from 3 different alien civilizations decloaked throughout the battlefield. Meridian ships, distinctive with their crystalline hulls. Biomechanical vessels of the Solari Communion. And the massive living ships of the Cetacean Exodus, a species that had evolved from Earth's own whales on a distant colony millennia ago before returning as an advanced spacefaring civilization. This is your one opportunity, High Commander, Chen continued. Withdraw your forces and engage in legitimate diplomatic relations, or face the combined response of not one species, but 4, each contributing their unique technologies and perspectives to our mutual defense. For several tense moments, no response came. Then, slowly, the Valkyrie fleet began to disengage. Ships carefully extracted themselves from the combat zone, maintaining defensive postures but clearly withdrawing. Verox's face reappeared on the communication channel. This outcome was unexpected. The Valkyrie Federation will reassess its approach to your species and its allies. A wise decision, Chen acknowledged. Earth remains open to peaceful relations based on mutual respect. We have no desire for conflict, only for the right to determine our own destiny. Your species is unusual, Verox observed. Most developing civilizations either submit or fight alone. Few manage to build meaningful alliances before achieving technological parity. Perhaps that's why they remain developing civilizations, Chen suggested. Humanity understands that true strength comes not from domination, but from cooperation. The aftermath of what became known as the Ceres Confrontation transformed humanity's position in galactic affairs. The Valkyrie Federation, acknowledging the new reality, established formal diplomatic relations with Earth and its allies. The renegade Valkyrie, who had initially attempted to extort humanity, were prosecuted by their own government, bringing a satisfying closure to the original conflict. Not with conventional weapons, Riveret admitted, but I've been working with the engineering team on something unconventional. The next day, Rivera led Chen through a makeshift laboratory where dozens of scientists and engineers worked on various components of what they called the disruptor array. Conventional thinking would suggest building bigger guns to overpower their shields, Rivera explained. But that's a losing proposition. They're too far ahead technologically. Instead, we're developing targeted electromagnetic pulses that can synchronize with their shield frequencies and exploit that millisecond vulnerability. Will it destroy their ships? Chen asked. No, but it should temporarily disable their systems, like an interstellar EMP. It gives us a fighting chance, at least. While the technical teams developed countermeasures, Earth's diplomatic corps have been quietly reaching out to other civilizations. The Valkyrie couldn't be the only advanced species in the galaxy, and humanity needed allies. Their persistence paid off when a small scout vessel made clandestine contact with one of the hidden Jovian outposts. The vessel belonged to the Meridian Collective, a species that had also experienced Valkyrie taxation demands. Ambassador Talia Rise led the diplomatic engagement with the Meridians, whose translucent, elongated bodies housed multiple neural clusters that gave them remarkable cognitive abilities. They've been monitoring our situation, Rise reported to the United Earth Security Council. The Meridians have dealt with the Valkyrie for centuries. According to them, the Valkyrie aren't actually a federation. They're more like interstellar pirates, exaggerating their influence and power to intimidate developing civilizations. So they're cosmic con artists, General Okafor commented. Essentially, yes, they target species at a specific technological threshold, advanced enough for resource extraction, but not advanced enough for effective defense. The Meridians believe the Valkyrie may have overreached with humanity. Our dispersed civilization model makes us difficult to control. President Alvarez leaned forward. Are the Meridians offering assistance? Conditionally, Rise replied. They've been building a coalition of resistance against Valkyrie extortion. They want to see if we're worthy partners before fully committing. And how do we prove our worthiness? Asked Secretary Liu. By demonstrating resolve. The Meridians can provide intelligence on Valkyrie movements and technical guidance, but they want to see us stand up for ourselves first. With Meridian intelligence support, Earth's military planners developed Operation Counterpunch. Rather than wait for another Valkyrie attack, humanity would reveal that they had not only survived, but had prepared a response. 3 months of frantic preparation followed. The disruptor array was completed and installed on Earth's most advanced stealth vessels. Meridian technical advisors helped optimize the technology, while their intelligence operatives provided detailed information on Valkyrie patrol routes and command protocols. Commander Chen, now promoted to admiral and placed in charge of the operation, gathered her officers for the final briefing. The Valkyrie believe they've intimidated us into submission, she told them. They've been monitoring Earth communications but haven't detected our activities in the outer system. According to our Meridian allies, they're planning to return with a smaller contingent to establish a permanent customs checkpoint near Jupiter to ensure our future compliance. She brought up a holographic display showing the expected Valkyrie approach vector. We'll allow them to enter the system unchallenged. Once they reach the Jupiter exclusion zone, we spring the trap. The day of reckoning arrived when long-range sensors detected a Valkyrie cruiser entering the solar system. Unlike the massive vessel from the first encounter, this was a smaller craft, still formidable, but clearly intended for routine enforcement rather than intimidation. Admiral Chen observed from the bridge of the UVS Defiant, concealed within Eo's sulfurous atmosphere. 5 other stealth vessels had positioned themselves throughout the Jovian system, each carrying components of the disruptor array. Valkyrie cruiser maintaining steady approach, Lieutenant Commander Park reported. They're broadcasting a general announcement claiming authority to establish a permanent monitoring station. Let them come, Chen replied calmly. All ships maintain stealth protocols. The Valkyrie vessel decelerated as it approached Jupiter, moving with the confidence of an unchallenged superior force. Its sensors swept the area where Europa colony had once stood, apparently confirming that the settlement remained abandoned. They're beginning orbital insertion around Jupiter, Park announced. Deploying something. Looks like automated customs platforms. According to Meridian Intelligence, they faced significant repercussions from the legitimate Valkyrie government for their unauthorized activities. So we're safe? Asked Counselor Rodriguez. Chen chose her words carefully. We're safer, but complacency would be a mistake. The legitimate Valkyrie Federation has taken notice of us now. They've requested formal diplomatic contact, which suggests they're reassessing their approach to emerging species like ourselves. The meeting concluded with approval for Chen's continued expansion of Earth's defense capabilities and diplomatic initiatives. As she left the council chambers, she was intercepted by Dr. Rivera, now heading Earth's Xenotechnology Integration Division. You didn't tell them about the anomalies, he said without preamble. Chen glanced around before ushering him into a private conference room. Because we don't have conclusive data yet, I refuse to spark panic based on speculation. Rivera activated a secure holographic display showing energy signatures detected at the edge of the solar system. 3 separate incidents in the past month, all matching advanced Valkyrie propulsion patterns. They're probing our defenses, Elisa. The question is whether it's the legitimate Federation or remnants of the splinter group seeking revenge, Chen mused. Either way, they're coming, and they'll have countered our disruptor technology by now. Chen nodded grimly. Then we better be ready with something new. The warning came sooner than expected. 2 days later, long-range sensors detected multiple vessels entering the solar system, a fleet far larger than anything they'd encountered before. Unlike the previous Valkyrie incursions, these ships made no attempt at communication. They accelerated directly toward the heart of human territory, their trajectory aimed at the crucial shipyards of Ceres. In the Strategic Operations Center beneath Olympus Mons on Mars, Chen coordinated Earth's response. All colonies on high alert. Civilian evacuation protocols activated. Deploy the fleet in defensive formation around Ceres. Incoming transmission, announced Communications Director Dias. It's not Valkyrie. At least, not the ones we've dealt with before. The main screen displayed a Valkyrie unlike those they'd encountered previously. Where the splinter group had obsidian skin, this being's surface resembled burnished copper, with intricate patterns etched into its angular features. I am High Commander Verox of the True Valkyrie Federation, the alien announced. Your species has interfered with internal Valkyrie matters. The criminals you encountered were renegades acting without authority, but your response has created complications. Chen stepped forward. High Commander, I am Admiral Chen representing Earth. We had no way of knowing those we encountered were acting without sanction. We defended ourselves against extortion and threats. Yes, Verox acknowledged. An impressive defense. Nonetheless, the technology you deployed against Valkyrie systems cannot be permitted to proliferate. It will be confiscated, along with all research data. Chen's expression hardened. With respect, High Commander, Earth does not surrender its defensive capabilities to any foreign power. We developed this technology legitimately to protect our people. You misunderstand, Verox replied. This is not a negotiation. Surrender your technology willingly, or we will take it by force." When the transmission ended, Rivera turned to Chen. "They're bluffing, right? Testing our resolve." "I don't think so," Chen replied. "The Valkyrie, the real ones, appear to operate on strict hierarchical principles. Technologies that threaten their dominance can't be tolerated. So we fight." "We fight," Chen confirmed, "but intelligently. Activate Chimera Protocol." Throughout the solar system, humanity's response unfolded with precision born of years of preparation. While civilian populations moved to hardened shelters, Earth's defense fleet deployed in seemingly conventional formations around key installations. What the Valkyrie couldn't know was that Chimera Protocol represented humanity's collaborative work with the Meridians and other allies, a multi-layered defense system incorporating technologies from 4 different civilizations, each compensating for the other's vulnerabilities. As the Valkyrie fleet approached Ceres, they encountered minimal resistance. The human vessels maintained distance, engaging only sporadically, almost as if they were merely delaying rather than genuinely defending. "They're confused by our tactics," strategic analyst Patel observed. "They expected either full engagement or immediate surrender." "Let them wonder," Chen replied. Status of Chimera components. All elements in position. Awaiting your command. Chen watched as the Valkyrie fleet surrounded the Ceres shipyards. Their confidence was evident in their formation. First contact and demands. Commander Eliza Chen stood at the observation deck of Horizon Base, watching the sunset over Europa Colony. The orange-red glow cast long shadows across the prefabricated habitat domes and hydroponics facilities that housed humanity's first true deep space settlement. 10,000 brave souls had ventured beyond Mars to establish this foothold around Jupiter's most promising moon. Their success represented humanity's greatest achievement, proof that they could thrive beyond Earth's cradle. "Commander, we're detecting an anomaly at the edge of the system." Lieutenant Park's voice crackled through her comm unit. Chen frowned. "Natural or artificial?" "Definitely artificial. It's big and moving deliberately." 20 minutes later, Chen stood in the command center surrounded by her senior staff as the main screen displayed an object that defied conventional explanation. Sleek and impossibly massive, the vessel, if that's what it was, had decelerated from faster-than-light travel and now maintained position just beyond Neptune's orbit. "It's transmitting something," Communications Officer Dias reported, her fingers dancing across the interface. "Structured data packets. I think it's trying to establish contact." Dr. Adams, the colony's chief xenolinguist, leaned forward. "Route it through the first contact protocols. Let's see if the translation matrix can make sense of it." The tension in the room was palpable. Humanity had long debated whether alien life existed, but no one had expected first contact to occur at their fledgling colony rather than Earth itself. Within hours, the translation matrix had processed enough to establish basic communication. The aliens identified themselves as representatives of the Valkyrie Federation, a coalition of species that claimed territorial authority over this section of the galaxy. "We greet the Earth beings," the translated message displayed on screen. "Your expansion has been noted. Payment is required for continued occupation." Chen exchanged confused glances with her staff. "Payment? What exactly are they asking for?" After several exchanges clarifying their demands, the picture became disturbingly clear. The Valkyrie weren't simply making contact. They were demanding tribute. According to their emissary, an angular being whose skin resembled polished obsidian, Earth had been trespassing in Valkyrie territory for decades and now owed substantial compensation. "Your species has utilized our cosmic pathways without authorization," the Valkyrie representative stated. "The resources of Jupiter and its moons are claimed property. Standard remuneration is 50 million resource units, payable immediately, with annual tributary payments of 10 million thereafter." "And if we refuse?" Chen asked, maintaining her composure despite the absurdity of the situation. The alien's expression remained unreadable, but its tone shifted. Non-compliance results in enforcement actions. Your colony lacks defensive capabilities. It would be unfortunate. After the transmission ended, Chen immediately opened a secure channel to Earth. The United Earth government convened an emergency session to address what was clearly an extortion attempt on a cosmic scale. This is unprecedented, Defense Secretary Liu said during the virtual meeting. We have no established protocols for interstellar extortion. It's a classic protection racket, General Okafor countered, just on an interplanetary scale. They're counting on our vulnerability to force compliance. President Alvarez's face remained impassive on the screen. What are our options, Commander Chen? You're our eyes and ears at Europa. President Alvarez's face remained impassive on the screen. What are our options, Commander Chen? You're our eyes and ears at Europa. Chen straightened. The Valkyrie vessel significantly outmatches anything in our arsenal, Madam President. Their technology appears centuries beyond ours. However, paying tribute sets a dangerous precedent. It signals weakness and guarantees escalating demands. So we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. Alvarez sighed. Not necessarily, Chen replied. I recommend a third option. Stall for time. Tell them we're considering their offer while we gather intelligence and prepare contingencies. If they wanted to destroy us outright, they would have. They want something specific from us, which gives us leverage. The debate continued for hours. Some officials advocated immediate payment to protect the colonists, while others insisted on a show of military force, despite the technological disparity. In the end, President Alvarez authorized a diplomatic response, neither accepting nor rejecting the Valkyrie demands outright. 6 months later, Admiral Chen stood in the newly constructed Galactic Embassy in Geneva as representatives from 24 spacefaring civilizations gathered for the inaugural conference of the Interstellar Cooperative. President Navarro delivered the opening address. From our first contact with extraterrestrial life, an attempted extortion, humanity might have turned inward, grown fearful or aggressive. Instead, we chose a different path. We recognized that the greatest strength lies not in isolation or domination, but in building bridges. Today, we formalize those connections not as a defensive measure, but as a positive vision for our shared future among the stars. As the delegates applauded, Chen found herself standing beside a Meridian representative whose mural clusters pulsed with what she had learned to recognize as amusement. Your species moves quickly, the Meridian observed, from facing extinction to hosting galactic conferences in less than 4 years. Chen smiled. Humans have always been adaptable. When the universe presents challenges, we find opportunities. The Valkyrie still don't fully understand what happened, the Meridian noted. They cannot comprehend why you would share technologies and resources with potential competitors. Because we don't see other species as competitors, Chen replied. At least, not primarily. We see fellow travelers in a vast universe, where cooperation offers more benefits than conflict. As the ceremony continued, Chen reflected on humanity's journey. Their refusal to pay an interstellar ransom had cascaded into a complete reimagining of Earth's place in the cosmos. By rejecting both capitulation and isolation in favor of principled engagement and alliance building, they had carved out a unique role for themselves. The stars had always represented humanity's greatest frontier. Now they represented humanity's greatest opportunity, not just for exploration or expansion, but for contributing to a galactic community where diversity of biology, technology, and perspective became strengths rather than barriers. The universe, it seemed, had much to learn from the species who insisted, we don't pay ransoms,